Hello, hello. It is time for another Cozy in the Kitchen with Candace, and today we are doing something extremely strange. Not strange for us as a family, but strange for most people I've talked to. We love salmon and salmon patties and things like that, but we have rivers that have trout in them. So a couple of years ago, we caught a mess of trout, ended up getting some from some neighbors and things like that. So we are going to can trout today. And then we are going to open one up, make them into some trout cakes. They are so tasty and reminds us a lot of great grandmas and stuff like that. Grandma's house, those are always fun. All right, so let's go ahead and I'll show you some neat little things. We're using a few Pampered Chef items and a lot of really old school stuff. So what we have here is just some plain old ball mason jars, and we have ran some extremely hot water. We want to soak these, we want to rinse them, get them nice and clean, get them fairly dry, and then we're going to pack them with trout. This is a really old school canner. Now you can use a pressure cooker with Pampered Chef and things like that to pressure cook, but this thing will get them canned. So look how heavy this lid is and how deep that canner goes. You're going to put a quart of water and a little bit of vinegar because you don't want calcium buildup on your jars and on your lids. You want them to be nice and pretty. And then we just have a little pan over here with water warming up and our lids. These are sealable lids, and when you pop them, you basically just throw them away. But they're kind of disposable. So the time with canners, they come with a wonderful little book that tells you all kinds of things. This one talks about all the different types of how to can meats and vegetables. Talks about pressures, cooking pounds of pressures, how long you should cook them, and things like that. Always make sure and read all of the things that you're going to need before you start canning. A lot of these older canners, they have rings in them. They'll have seals. You'll take a little bit of olive oil and you'll just wipe the outside of the ring off. That'll help create a really good seal. It's not something you do all the time, but you always want to make sure that that seal will be lubricated and not dry and brittle. If it is dry and brittle, you're not going to create or have a seal, and your canning will not be, it won't be any good. All right, so we have a bunch of different types and levels of trout today. I've gotten some frozen trout. These are frozen solid, right out of the freezer. I've got some that we cleaned yesterday, and these are skinned, heads off, guts are out, and that kind of stuff. And then we have some that are completely filleted. So we've got those. I'm going to take them, and I'm going to start with the frozen one first because, well, the frozen takes up the most space. So I actually just cut this with the scissors, cleaned these, dried these. Like I said, these are totally solid. I'm going to take my Pampered Chef kitchen scissors, cut the tails off of it, and then I am going to cut it just in the middle, through the bones, through all of it. I don't know if you guys can see that. It has got the skin on and everything. And I'm just going to put it right down into the jar. And let's see if I can get another one in here. You're going to pack these in here. And so this one is pretty full. We may try to get a couple more pieces in there. This one's got a lot of leftovers, so we'll take some of the fresh from yesterday. And like I said, they're cleaned. They skinned them and just cut the tail off of it. We're going to cut them in pieces. Now, guys, clean your sinks, clean your area before you get started because you're going to make a big old mess. There are still bones in here, and yep, with trout, you're going to have rib bones too. So they're just going to be part of it. They're going to, when you cook them, they're going to cook out. And like I said, you're going to pack this within about an inch of the lid. That first little ring is perfect for showing that off. Flip these over. And tail. I'm gonna cut this backbone off here too. And you can see that. You can see the bones, some of the rib bones sticking out. Perfectly fine. All right. All right, guys, now we're down to this. These are the filleted out ones. So we are going to can these separate because I'm actually doing these for a friend. So all of these are going to go into the jar, and I'm probably going to have to get another jar. And see, they're just going to go all right in there, filleted. So those are going to pack really tight, and he's going to really like it. These came actually frozen, and they were frozen overnight. I let them sit in a cooler overnight, and they are thawed out just perfect. All right, and then I guess I'll put this one in here with this because that one's not full enough. All right, guys, so we have gotten actually all of these trout into these 7 containers. We are going to wash your hands, wash your stuff, wash our area. How amazing are those scissors? We will take these and wipe the rims off, put a little bit of oil, a little bit of salt, and make sure and fill them to this rim right here. Make sure that there's water in those. We'll get those done. Be right back. So I've got all these trout packed in here. You can probably do that with bass. You could probably do it with salmon. But we are going to take a teaspoon of salt to each one of them. I'm not going to over salt it, just a little bit right up on top. Teaspoon of salt to each of ours. And then I am going to take a tablespoon of Italian dressing and just put that in there. Now, like I said, there's no water in these jars. Just a tablespoon of Italian dressing. Now, some people use French dressing. I don't have any French, so I'm actually just going to use Italian dressing. All right, guys, all I've done is move this over to a metal board, cleaned up everything that I was working with. Like I said, all I did was pack this trout in here, add a teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of Italian dressing. Like I said, you could use French dressing. Some people like to use oil. It just depends on how you like to pack your fish. I do want just a little bit. You can tell there's not any liquid in here with it. So we're going to take this, and we will take just a wet paper towel, wipe the lids, wipe the rims off so that there's nothing keeping these from sealing when we put these lids on. Now, like I said, I've boiled these. There's a little bit of vinegar in there, and we want to just put them straight on and put a ring on it, if you like it. And this will go right into the canner. We've already got a quart of water in here. I've not turned it on yet, but I probably should. We'll turn it on high and get that started. This will take quite a bit of time to process, but you're going to get a lot of really, you're gonna get 7 quarts of canned trout out of it. What else are you doing on a Sunday afternoon? I know, right? So these, like I said, these lids are hot. They're gonna go right up against this, and they are nice and clean, both sides, and screw the lids down nice and tight. And that will just go in there. Some of these, like I said, are still frozen. Some of them are thawed out and fresh from yesterday. And that is all that it takes. These are going to go down into the canner, and we're going to put the canner lid on and seal it. You might not want to turn it on until you are ready to, because it's going to create a vacuum and a pressure. This one actually has an old school pressure reading. If you can see that right there, it's got the 10 pounds of pressure, the 5 pounds of pressure, the 15 pounds of pressure. We're actually going to put 10 pounds of pressure on it today. And when it starts jiggling, it'll make lots and lots of noise. You're going to then turn your temperature down just a little bit so it's rocking. So it's just leaving a little bit of pressure that's inside. It just relieves it just a little. And then we're going to take our timer. I've got a great little Paper Chef timer. It's got 4 different types of settings on it. You can time 4 different things at once. This one, you'll just turn it on, and this, once it comes up to pressure, you are going to cook it for 100 minutes. That is 1 hour and 40 minutes with the little jostle. So let's get this started, and we'll show you some more. All right, our canner is up to pressure, and obviously you can tell it is really, really loud. I am gonna just turn the dial down a little bit, set my timer to 1 hour and 40 minutes, and hit the go button. This is going to simmer down just a little bit, and it's going to get a little bit quieter, but it is still going to have that rocking little bit of motion. And you'll just need to adjust as you go so you can hear that and not get so loud. All right, guys, we are back. We're about 1 hour and 40 minutes into this. We just turned, when the alarm went off on our little timer, we turned the heat off, moved the pan off of the heat, and allowed the steam to release on its own. Once the steam is completely released, we pulled the pan off. It's extremely, extremely hot. So make sure you use pot holders. Make sure you stay back out of the way. Like I said, really, really hot. Before I show you the finished product, I would like to thank you so much for coming on, watching my YouTube channel, watching my videos, checking out my Facebook page. I think hashtag Cozy in the Kitchen with Candace. Like and subscribe. Share it, and let me be able to do this more for you guys. So I'm going to show you the finished product. These are still bubbling and boiling in here. Let me get this all turned around. There is our finished cans. You can see that it has made all of its own juices in there, and those are still bubbling and boiling. We are going to give it more time, allow those to cool more on their own, and then we are going to use these little tongs here. These are some really great tongs. I don't know how long, we've had them forever, but they actually just wrap around it. You can probably get them in the canning section of the local store. These will just slip over the jars and lift them right out. Put them on a cool surface and allow them to cool, and then you will see that they start to snap down, pop, you'll hear them compress. I will pull these back out and I'll be back in a few minutes. We're gonna see some bubbling. All of these have actually canned and sealed. You heard them seal. If you are interested in learning more about canning, I encourage you to do some research. Do your own research. Talk to people that have done their own canning and have success. Some failures, some not so amazing ends of end products. But we're going to take these, and probably a little bit later on this week, I'm going to open one up, and we're going to make some trout cakes with them, cook them up, and have them for some dinner. Hopefully I'll get to see you guys again soon.